Shalom and welcome to today's edition of Rabbi Ron in the House. Back when I was a senior in college, I went to Rochester, New York to student teach. And there I had my assignments working in the class. Every night I was up till 1 a.m. 1 a.m. I was sitting there up to 1 a.m. because I had a pile of papers in which I had a grade, little tests, quizzes, handouts, and I had to grade and look over and check every one of those. I then had lesson plans to prepare. I hadn't done this ever before in my life, and I had to sit there and create the lesson plans to work with. And it was keeping me up till 1 o'clock in the morning. Then I got involved in a congregation locally there in Rochester, and some of the people encouraged me, get involved on Wednesday nights with the youth ministry. They got a good, strong college group. And I said, boy, that would be great. I would love to do it. But the problem is I'm already up to 1 o'clock in the morning. If I sat there and went out to college and career and youth group, I'd be up to 5 a.m. in the morning just getting my work done. I said, I don't know. And I said, Lord, it sounds like a good thing, but it'll kill me. I'll never get my work done. And I felt the Lord say, go. You need to go and do that. And when you do, I'll bless your efforts with your work that you have for student teaching. I'll enable you to accomplish your work. I'll multiply your time. I'll make it happen. Just go and trust me. And so that Wednesday night I went out. I got picked up, got back at 10 o'clock at night, got home, showered. I sat down to take a look and do the work I needed to do. And I went to bed at 11 p.m. that night with all my work done. And from that day on, for the rest of the semester, I went to bed at 11 p.m. instead of 1 a.m. every night. I trusted God. I did what He said. He multiplied my time. It was amazing what He did. And this lesson is what we find in this week's Parsha. In Leviticus 25, God tells us that when we do what He says to do, and we have a Sabbath year of rest for the land, and we don't go and work the fields for land, and they say, wait a minute, we don't work the fields, we won't have any food for next year. God says, you do what I tell you to do, whether it makes sense or not. The land will yield its fruit, and you will eat your fill and live there in safety. And you'll ask, well, God, what are we going to do in the 7th year if we don't plant or harvest? I will send you, God says, such a blessing in the 6th year that your land will yield enough for 3 whole years. While you plant during the 8th year, you will eat from the old crop and continue to eat from it until the harvest of the 9th year comes in. He says, I'll just multiply your efforts. I'll multiply your harvest so that it'll last you. I saw that year when I put God first, I sought first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, did what He said was right. He said, all these things, all your needs will be added to you. Like the when Yeshua ministered to the thousands, and then it got late and they got hungry, and He took the few loaves of bread and few fishes someone had, and He multiplied it so that it fed thousands. That's somehow what God did from then on when I trusted Him. He multiplied my efforts. It was amazing. He did a miracle and allowed the little I had to go, the little time to go and make it happen. And so I want to encourage you, sometimes God asks you to do things and you say, there's just not enough time, there's not enough resources if I do it that way. But if God tells you to do it clearly and He speaks to you and says, trust me, you can trust God. He's proven myself to you, and I know He'll prove Himself to you. Well, thanks for joining me. This has been Rabbi Ron in the House.